Australian Super Sedan champion Tony Grinstead last night won the Victorian title at Timmer Speedway, Mildura. The Melbourne-based driver in a Camaro defeated Peter Timberlake from Geelong in a VN Commodore, and Peter Logue of Morwell finished third.
Grinstead was always going to be the testing material for the title after finishing with 2 wins and 2 seconds from 5 drives in the qualifying rounds on Saturday and last night to earn the coveted pole position for the 35-lap final.
As long as you win in the first 3, you're happy. Sometimes pole is not real good, but you know, third position's definitely the way to start. But last night, having pole was a big advantage the way the track was. So.
He said today the track went off and became firm and dusty, caused by the heavy traffic, and caused marbles to form on the outside, which makes it impossible to pass. Grinstead admitted leading in speedway races is a big advantage, being able to set your own pace, not be forced to take any risks, as in the case when a driver is chasing. The first half of the final resulted in a close dice with runner-up Peter Timberlake.
Yeah, he passed me and he goofed on the corner when he did pass me, and I got back. I'm glad he goofed because I don't think I would have got past him.
The final, involving 20 cars from all over Victoria, was spoilt by a number of restarts, with drivers at the back of the field spinning out on the dry track. The Australian champion admitted his 1986 car will need to be rebuilt in the next 12 months.
Well, it's a Camaro, even though it doesn't look like your normal Camaro on the road, but it's paired with a 350 sheave stroker motor. It's got all the good gear inside it, but it's definitely not the best motor out there, but it gets us along.
What'd the motor have cost you?
Motor alone, probably, to replace it, probably 20 grand.
Grinstead says the entire family enjoy his involvement in the sport. Despite being national saloon car champion, he's no desire to advance up to touring cars.
Believe it or not, I'm frightened of high speeds, so I don't think if ever I'd hop into a touring car.
Well, I don't know if you... Righto, we should get a green light this time in there, Ryan. Look at Grinstead around the outside of Weaver. Will Tony Grinstead, the Australian #1, come out of that first corner in front? That's not unusual for him. Tony Grinstead down the far side straight. He's in front of Weaver. Then the car behind him is that Wilkins. That's Greg Wilkins from Broken Hill. 29 Stag, a little further back. Where's the Victorian #1, Reeves? He's a bit further back in the field, and keep an eye on Adam Fendick in car number 25. He's a long way back in the field at this stage, but if anybody's going to pass, he will. Tony Grinstead doing it fairly comfortably for the first heat of the Super Sedan title for Victoria 1992, and a bit of flame coming out of the RX-7. Tony Grinstead 11 out in front. Mark Weaver doing a great job. Wilkins and Bendigo Stag in 29, a little further behind. And then they drop away just a little bit. Harold Brennan, the local driver, up there in front of Peter Reeves. Fendick is not far up the field yet. John Scown almost at the rear of the field. One car by the look of it pulling out. Number 11 on the roof there of the Australian #1, Grinstead. And who's this? Harold Brennan, who is getting in amongst it. Harold said, I know this track pretty well, and is attempting to go around the outside. Did he pick up a couple of cars? On the outside of Stag. Stag in 29 moved out. Reeves comes through underneath Harold Brennan. And then that next car behind comes through onto Brennan as well. That could be Danny Amato there. The 2 leading cars a mile out in front. Wilkins and a big bunch of cars. Stag, Reeves, Brennan, Amato, Fendick and Scown. And look at them bunch up as they go into the pit corner and out. We've got one slower car right on the outside. Look at the Ballarat driver, Tony Grinstead, and he always goes like that. That car 31 is Steve Ludwig, who's stuck up on the fence. Can't find a brake to get down out of it. Scout's still in the rear of the field. Fendick not able to make up on this field. Likewise, Harold Brennan in the middle of the field there, trying to get past the Victorian one, Peter Reeves. And look at the lead these 2 cars have got. Tony Grinstead from Ballarat, way out in front of Mark Weaver, the Bendigo driver, a long way back to Broken Hill. It's 55 on the roof. Greg Wilkins, he's been a regular here at Mildura over the years. 29 Stag, and there's still a big bunch of cars there. Peter Reeves leads that crew. Going around the outside is Danny Amato. Harold Brennan still there. Fendick now trying to make a move on the field. 1 lap left to go, a little bit less for the leading cars. And the big bunch coming through now with a lap left to go. It's Wilkins, Stag, Reeves, Harold Brennan. Is he still there? Brennan's dropped back a bit with Fendick. Danny Amato on the outside, and there goes our first winner of the night. And in what style? Tony Grinstead from Ballarat. Mark Weaver from Bendigo in second place. Oh, we've lost a stack of cars. The local driver, Brennan, Scowl, Fendick, all of them in what sort of Grammy or Scound's car looks like it's in a little bit of a mess. Maybe it's just bodywork bent around, but they were
in front of him, hit him, couldn't do much to avoid him. The front end of the car is quite a mess. They're not the words to use, but it is quite a mess, and he's got to rush back to see if he can do much about it.
Out in front, who will get away fairly well. 47 is Stewart, and number 4, Ron Dalton, I saw in there. I haven't even had a chance to pick up the cars that are in there, but it's still John Rodder out in front, doing it fairly well from Steve Stewart. Dalton, 22, I can see Gavin McKenzie back there, Neville Eltz a little further back. So it's Rodder. 17, Michael Clark is in there. Car number 5 is Eltz from Horsham. As the cars start to spread themselves out, is John Rodder from Stewart, who's going to do it fairly well this time. Ron Dalton back there in 3rd place. McKenzie coming through now underneath that car that I haven't quite picked up. 77 on the roof is Michael Clark. Let's have a look as they spread themselves out going through the mid-corner. Still in that same order. 17 it is back there. 17 on the car, of course. 77 on the roof. That's Michael Clark. 22 McKenzie. 13 is coming through on those other cars as well. Timberlake, now he's one of the fellas that came in here with a big reputation. 5 Eltz has dropped out the back. Timberlake is a long way off the leaders, but going fairly well. If he could just get past them, it's still John Rodder in 46 out in front from Steve Stewart. Ron Dalton, 77 is Clark. McKenzie, 13, Timberlake trying to get through there on 22. Nose to tail all the way through that corner. Only inches separating them, or centimetres these days, isn't it? Is he going to be able to get through? That's Peter Drew also back there with those cars. Keep an eye on Timberlake. Can he get through in 13? A little way back from the leaders. He's trying to get past McKenzie. As he gets past McKenzie, he then has Michael Clark to take on. Around the outside, McKenzie was the one that was holding him up. Around the outside of Clark, not able to do it. The leaders, once again, opening up a good lead, those first 3 cars. Oh, we've got a bit of a clash down there. And we've got half of Clark's car hanging off the back. Michael Clark has that bumper bar swinging around the rack. Has he lost it yet, or is it still there? It's still hanging off the car. Will he get stopped with that? Timberlake, the orange light is on. Usually they won't let a car continue with pieces of bits and such like hanging off the back. It's a little bit like the chariot races with the knives on the wheels. It may have just the same effect if it goes through one of the windows. They'll try and rip that off, I would say, so he can continue. We'll catch up. We've got John Rodder, Steve Stewart, Ron Dalton. That's pretty well the way they started. Gavin McGlade, and they're racing as they come out of the corner. Bunched up a little bit more now. Rodder, Stewart, Dalton. Where is Timberlake? I've never seen this fellow drive before, but we've heard a lot about him. He's back there in 5th place, trying to go out and round up McKenzie again. He's done it once. Peter Drew right behind him, and Eltz at the rear of the field. 1 lap left to go, and Rodder has the pressure put on by Stewart. He should hold out. Dalton, then McKenzie, Timberlake, Drew, and Eltz. Are we going to see any changes? Drew, it looks like coming through underneath Timberlake. Will he pick up another position? Yes, he could do there. After points, of course, for the final. Highest point scorer starting at the front. And it's John Rodder, Steve Stewart, Ron Dalton, Gavin McKenzie, Peter Timberlake, Peter Drew, and Neville Eltz as they cross the line in that order. I'll just race back to the official placings in the previous race. First was car number 11, of course, Tony Grinstead. Second was car number 16, Marco Weaver. And third was car number 55, Greg Wilkins, the Broken Hill driver. The fastest lap was 18.63 by car number 11. That was with the... And let's get rid of that radio mic for just a moment, because that's pretty hard on the ears. But out in front, who is it? Was that McEachran in the van going through his Cook? Gary Cook in 28, not able to get through. Have to pick the cars up as they come through here. Right around the outside was 79. That was McEachran. 42 is in there. That's Cowlin. Right up the rear of the field is the big 2, Lionel West. This is the old car he got out of the scrap heap to race here tonight. It's a Victorian number 2, so it's not too bad. His better car not able to be ready for the night's racing. And Bob Lilly in the Tirana a long way back. Car number 35, Ron Bergmeyer. He's right up there with him. It looks like 28 though, is it, out in front at the moment. Look at that batch of cars trying to get through. 28 is Gary Cook from Ballarat. 14, we've lost one, we've lost two. He's up on top. And are we going to get much damage out of that? Gary Cook out in front. Bergmeyer, number 6, that would be Peter Logue. Yes, has moved up from the rear. Peter Logue from Mildura. Gary Drew in there as well. Two Drews racing tonight. Peter and Gary, I think from different clubs. And he's, they tell me, is the only VN with a V8 Holden motor. Should be up in 5th spot. Dennis Cottrell will stop the vehicles and point out just where they should be. Just a little bit of confusion with the drivers. And on the restart it will be Gary Cook out in front from Bergmeyer, and then Cowlin and Peter Logue a little further back, 19, Gary Drew, and we've got some passing already. Oh, and we've nearly lost one. We'll run inside car, hold him on the track, thank you very much. As we shoot through a couple shot through. Cook has lost a couple of positions and will lose a couple more. We've got cars going everywhere, and it's Bergmeyer, Logue, I think, out in front from Bergmeyer. We've lost another one. Graham Cowlin in 42 has pulled off, and these fellows are a little bit fair dinkum out in front. Which is it now? Pick them up when they come past, but I think that's Peter Logue, the Nyora car that's out in front at the moment. Car number 6, yes, from Bergmeyer, then Cook, then Drew, then Paul. And we're going to have some interesting racing between these fellows tonight. As we've seen in the last couple of heats, those leading two cars are starting to open up a lead, and a lot of the interest will come with some of the minor placings. Peter Logue way out in front from Bergmeyer, the track cutting up a little bit dusty now. 28, Gary Cook just holding off a couple of cars behind him, very close behind him. Going through the Deakin Avenue corner, and you can start to see the black marks on the track. The Super Sedans really bite into that track. Coming out of the Deakin Avenue corner, it's Cook still holding them back. 61, Lionel West is starting to get his act together at the rear of the field. McEachran doesn't seem to be having any problems with that car of his after the accident on the Deakin Avenue corner. Spreading out a fair bit now, 1 lap left to go, and it's still Peter Logue out in front. The second car with a good break also is Ron Bergmeyer. Then Cook, then Drew, then Paul. And Lionel West, it is going out fairly wide as he goes through the corner, trying to get the old car sorted out. A passing manoeuvre up here. Somebody going to pick up a place? No, in fact, we're going to lose one. It won't affect the major results, the first three. And Lionel West shot through there into about 4th place, I think it was. The first 3 placings didn't change, with Peter Logue out in front, Ron Bergmeyer 2nd place, Gary Cook 3rd, and it was Lionel West in the Victorian 2 car shooting through for a 4th place. Then the national... Ron Bergmeyer, a car I hadn't seen before, doing pretty well. Peter Logue we have had here. Cook, another one I don't think we've seen before. Indian file, that's not quite Indian file, but let's see what happens. Peter Logue, Bergmeyer, Drew ducking in there in front of West. Paul, Lilly, McEachran, Cowland and Cook. Yes, Philip Paul realises that he should be up there in front of Lionel West. Green light up, yellow light out, and the green light is on, and away we go with Peter Logue taking off out in front. Who's that? Lionel West out fairly wide on the track as they went past us, but it's Logue from Bergmeyer. Still an Indian file, no great passing manoeuvres yet, going round for the first lap. Only 2 laps left to run, of course, in this particular race. Logue will be hoping he can hang on and still take the race out, and Bergmeyer likewise from Gary Drew. It's Lionel West hoping to do a little bit better, and he's going very, very wide out in the dry dirt, heading for the fence. That won't help him much at all. That 3rd place car there is trying to pick up another position. I don't think he's going to do it as the dust starts to rise when they come through the corner. It's Peter Logue. That was Gary Drew in 3rd place, Bergmeyer, then Paul. And in that order, we'll get you some official placings, and I'm certainly sure we won't have a race time for this one. Pretty good start there, and as they come out, it's Timberlake going to go around the outside, and Scout obviously not there. He got involved in that little altercation earlier. And who is it? Peter Timberlake. We were told he was pretty good. Who's way out in front? That's probably Gary Drew there in second place at this stage, and Philip Paul in third. I can see here Cowland a little further back. It's Timberlake, the Avalon car. Then 12 is Paul. John Rodder a bit further back. Then Cowland. Car number 29 a long way back there is Stagg with 49 on the roof number. We get mixed up with the roof numbers and the car numbers, but this fellow 13. Timberlake doing it very, very well at this stage from Geelong. Gary Drew from Avalon in second place. The ex-Rod Nash car there, Philip Paul in third place. John Rodder back there with Graham Cowland right on his tail. Rodder in 46, back in fourth place. Once again, we've seen a leading car, and we've lost one in a cloud of dust on the other side. That was Darryl Stagg. And Tony Grinstead, of course, I haven't mentioned at all, a little further back in the field. It's a bit unusual to see Tony that far back, but he's making a move now around the outside, past Cowling, now past John Rodder, who did so well in one of the earlier laps. That's Tony Grinstead around the outside. They have closed the, I thought closed the gap on the leader, but Timberlake is a mile in front. It is a race for the minor placings here at this stage. Timberlake has opened up almost half a lap lead on the other cars. It's an incredible lead. Pick up the rest of them. Where's Grinstead? Is he moving up through the field? That's the Avalon car, number 19, in second place. Grinstead still moving up through the field. I think he's moved up another placing there at this stage. John Rodder also is dropping back a little. Philip Paul back in about fourth place. And look at Grinstead chasing the Avalon 19 car of Gary Drew. Through the pit corner, can Grinstead move up and pick up a second place as Timberlake has to pass that slower car? 1 lap left to go. And when I say slower car, it does seem a little bit ridiculous because I don't think it's all that slow. Tony Grinstead, the Australian number 1, and a beautiful passing manoeuvre through on the inside of Gary Drew from Avalon to take second place. Then it was Philip Paul, John Rodder, Graham Cowland. And these fellows are still racing. Maybe I was a lap too early, but a tremendous bit of racing there. That's Timberlake. Now we go. A big bunch of cars as they come across then. Maybe I lost the laps that time. Oh, and who's this spun out? I think it's the 29 car of Darryl Stagg. A big spin coming out of the Deakin Avenue corner at the finish of the race. Mile in front. Ron Dalton sort of midfield and stayed there for most of the race. Looks like Darryl Stagg having a bit of a chat. And it's Fendick and Peter Reeves taking off first. Fendick got a little bit of a bump on the inside. Reeves in the RX-7 on the outside. Fendick moves out down the straight in first place. Haven't taken much notice of the other cars there at the moment, but I think it might be Lionel West in third, or in fact is he in second place. As they come past here, West has moved up inside Reeves. Then 47 is Stewart, a little further back. And the cars go past just a little bit too quickly to pick them all up as they go through there. McEachran, who had a little bit of a problem before, is a little bit further back in the field by the look of it. As they go through now, is it Adam Fendick, still in front. From Lionel West, Peter Reeves, Steve Stewart, 19 is Drew, 22 is McKenzie, 34 is Bob Lilly, then McEachran, then Wilkins, and then car number 31 is Steve Ludwig. Well, we've got them all together now, but look at this race. We're not seeing a car go out there and lead by half a mile this time. Adam Fendick, and I always knew when this fellow got his driving skills together that he would be hard to toss. He's learned how to take the corners on this track. He's holding off Lionel Reeve from Bendigo as Reeve drops back just a little bit. And the current Victorian number 1 back there in third place in Peter Reeves. That was Lionel. Lost them there as Peter Reeves in the RX-7. Lionel West was in second place. I think I might have got his name mixed up just a little, but it's Adam Fendick out in front, still leading the race. 31 Steve Ludwig, a long way back. Fendick going out a bit wide. Is it going to let West come through? Then Reeves, then Stewart. Drew Mackenzie, and they've got a bit of a lead on the next batch, led by the little Tirana of Bob Lilly. One car trying to go through underneath Reeves there. We've got one slow one on the track. Is he going to get out of the way or is he not? That's 31. The leading cars come pounding down there. 25's Fendick, West, Reeves, Stewart, Drew, Mackenzie. They're the cars that we're going to watch. If we're going to see any passing, it may be out among those cars. Fendick now has to get past this slower car. This is going to allow the field to catch up. He's got off the track now, must be looking in the rear vision mirror. 1 lap left to go. Fendick opened up a good lead from West, Reeves and Stewart. Mackenzie trying to get past Drew there, back in about 5th place. And likewise, up a little earlier, was it Mackenzie trying to go through under Reeves, the current Victorian number 1. And the checkered flag is out for Adam Fendick. West, Reeves, Stewart, Drew. Well, a little bit more pace at the head of the field that time. Very briefly, we'll run straight back to the previous race. First was 13, Peter Timberlake. Second was Tony Grinstead, and third was 19, Gary Drew. A new lap record was 17.53 by Peter Timberlake in car number 13. Start. Let's see how the little Capri of Elps goes, starting on that pole position. But round the outside is Danny Amato, and we've got that car spun fairly badly as he took off then car number 6, wasn't it, Peter Loeb? And right round the outside, that looks like Danny Amato already taken the lead from Neville Elps, and Peter Loeb going close, and one's gone the wrong way. That's a left-hand turn, not a right-hand turn up there. I didn't see what caused that, but I think that's Ron Bergmeyer from Bendigo, who's decided to have a close pole position with Amato on the outside. And they're away, and it's a good start again. In fact, that's there's Weaver on the outside who looks like he's going fairly well in about 4th place on the outside of Peter Lowe. Amato once again has hit the front wall. I think there was a little bit of a clash of cars there, and a bit of burning rubber came up between the two. But it's car number 6, Danny Amato from Neville Elps. Peter Lowe, Weaver, and a line of cars following up there with Harold Brennan, Clark and Bergmeyer. And Clark has done pretty well earlier on too. Where's the local driver, Brennan? Back in about 5th place, is he? No, he's further back. That's Clark. Harold Brennan at the rear of the field, not doing too well. Danny Amato opening up a good lead as we've got a bit of a passing manoeuvre there. Peter Lowe trying to go through underneath Neville Elps, but the little Capri has got a little bit of tow going down the back straight. It's Elps holding on to 2nd position. Danny Amato out front. Peter Lowe around the outside. Mark Weaver. Then it's Clark. And we lost somebody on the other side. Is that Harold Brennan? It looks like he's pulled out. A great battle going on for the minor placings here, although Danny Amato seems to have the race pretty well sewn up. A look at the bunch of them going into the Deacon Avenue corner. Neville Elps doing a great job. Still able to hang on to 2nd place from Peter Lowe. 16, Mark Weaver. A lot of pressure being put on from the cars that aren't quite up as far as they'd like to be. Was that Bergmeyer, went very wide on the outside. Not much of a change between those. It's still Danny Amato out front with Neville Elps leading the others. Logue, Weaver,